Congress shall be able to seek 8 years of the monster's business records from his accounting firm. Mazer, it's Mazer. Isn't that funny? Mazer? Kathy? Yeah. Mazer? I used to, before I met Kathy, I was dating a woman from New York whose name was Mazer. I wonder. Anyway, a federal appeals court in Washington ruled today. This is just one of a number of legal battles over access to the monster's scams and lies and cheats and phony bullshit of his so-called financial records. Anyway, a 2-1 ruling, U.S. Court of Appeals, the D.C. Circuit upheld Congress's investigative powers and rejected the monster's attempt to block lawmakers from subpoenaing these documents. The 2-1 ruling, the one who said, no, you can't have them, is a Trump appointee, obviously. And the courts haven't been politicized? Oh, shit, are you kidding me? Anyway, this case, what was ruled on today by the appeals court, is one of several that the Democrats have taken to court because of Trump's intransigence where it concerns following what the Constitution says. Why follow the Constitution, right, you orange bastard? Right? George Bush said it's just a goddamn piece of paper. Remember that? Or don't you? Hey, Ellen DeGeneres, do you remember that? When Bush said the Constitution is a goddamn piece of paper, I'm still pissed off at Ellen DeGeneres. Oh, well. In this case, this particular case, the judges ruled that Trump's arguments that the subpoenas were invalid because Congress lacked what Trump's lawyer said was a legitimate legislative purpose for the subpoenas. The court said, bullshit, that's incorrect, turn them over. The court said, quote, contrary to the president's arguments, the House committee, possesses authority under both the House rules and the Constitution to issue the subpoenas. And Mazars, the accounting firm, must comply. Now, why was it before the appeals court? Because Trump was appealing a lower court's decision that allowed the House Oversight Committee to move forward with its request for financial statements and audits prepared for the orange bastard and his companies by the accounting firm Mazars USA. Now, the House had been trying to get these records months before the impeachment process began. The impeachment inquiry began, and the case was prompted by testimony from Trump's former fixer and once lawyer, Michael Cohen. Remember Michael Cohen? You do, right? Cohen had said that Trump had exaggerated his wealth, lied on these forms when he was getting loans that Trump had no intention of ever paying back. And he never did. He is a grifter. He is a criminal. Yo, Republicans, I don't care if you want to have sex with him. He's still a grifter and a liar and a criminal. Where was I? The court ruled this. Throughout our history, this is a quote from one of the judges, throughout our history, Congress, the President, and the courts have insisted upon maintaining the separation between the legislative and impeachment powers of the House and recognize the gravity and accountability that follow impeachment. Allowing the committee to issue the subpoena for legislative purposes could turn Congress into a roving inquisition over a co-equal branch of government. Now, that's from the Trump-appointed judge who wrote that. Woo! allowing the committee to issue this subpoena for legislative purposes. It's not for legislative purposes, you Trump judge, you Trump freak fool. It is for impeachment purposes at this point. Anyway, as part of the appeals process, the House Democrats had agreed with Trump's private legal team to suspend the deadlines set by the subpoenas for turning over the records while the court case was pending. Now, the timeline allows the case to move swiftly by court standards, and it could set up a potential ruling from the Supreme Court in the midst of the presidential campaign in 2020. Now, a spokeswoman for Mazars said the firm stood by its previous statement about the case, which is this: Mazars USA will respect the legal process and fully comply with its legal obligations, end quote. Well, there you go. Attorneys for the House and for the Orange Bastard had no comment this morning. Blah, blah, blah. In the 66-page opinion, the majority of the court found that the Mazars subpoena fits squarely in a long history of cases in which courts recognize Congress's broad authority to conduct its constitutional and legislative duties without interference from the other two branches. Now, in a separate case in New York, Trump is trying to block the Manhattan District Attorney from subpoenaing Trump's tax records from the same accounting firm. Cyrus Vance is investigating the payments that Trump was making to his whores and hookers. No offense to the women, but that's, I mean, if you pay for sex, what do you call the person from whom you're getting the sex, if not a hooker or a whore or a prostitute? Okay, sex worker. Now, what do you tell the person who is buying the sex? A punk, an asshole, a liar, a cheapskate, a bitch. I don't know. Pick a word. They all fit with Trump. So no offense to the sex workers. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, the Cyrus Vance is investigating those hush money payments just before the 2016 election. Not that it would have made any difference if it would have come out. Not to his brain-dead fucking zombies who vote for him. They would have still voted for Jesus, God. Douglas Letter, the U.S. House of General Counsel, had said in court that Congress has a legitimate interest in investigating the president's possible conflicts of interest and potential misconduct. This attorney, the House General Counsel, noted that the House subpoena followed committee testimony from Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, that the president intentionally inflated and deflated the value of his assets to bankers and insurers for personal gain. He's a grifter. He's a liar. He's a thug. He's a criminal. He is complicit in murder in the Middle East. What a son of a bitch. Anyway, the appeals court was reviewing an expedited decision from U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta, who pointed to decades of legal precedent upholding Congress's right to investigate a president. The circuit panel heard arguments in a rare July session, keeping the case on a fast track. Mehta, the judge the U.S. District Judge, who ruled that the case could go forward, that's why it went to the appeals court, that judge, Mehta, wrote, quote, "It is simply not fathomable that a constitution that grants Congress the power to remove a president for reasons including criminal behavior would deny Congress the power to investigate him for unlawful conduct, past or present, even without formally opening an impeachment inquiry." See, this is what Trump has done, and this is what the Republicans have allowed him to do, and the Democrats, the American people, have been relatively quiet. Trump has decided to abrogate every single section of the U.S. Constitution except that part that he chooses to obey, which means none of it. He makes this shit up as he goes along. This is what dictators do. This is what punks do. This is what cowardly, subhuman jerkwads do. A descriptive term that fits Trump perfectly. So no, he's not following any constitutional boundaries or guidelines, or legislative boundaries or guidelines, or legal boundaries or guidelines. He's not following any of that shit. Why should he? He never has. He's always been a criminal. He used to steal money from his mother when he was a child. He's always been a criminal, and always will be, until they plant the son of a bitch somewhere. He is a criminal, that's all.
Greetings, truth seekers. It's that time of year again. Time to help your humble and obedient podcaster keep it lit by keeping the lights on in the Malloy studio with a podcast pledge drive. All October, we are giving away freebies, goodies, and gifts as thank yous for subscribing or renewing your Malloy podcast at the Trump recession level reduced price of $49 a year. It's a different giveaway each week, truth seekers. Everything from an autographed copy of Mike's book, Colored Ice Cream, to my holiday baked goods. Already have a Malloy podcast? Well, it makes a great gift. And remember, podcast subscribers also get exclusive access to the weekend bonus shows, which might be hosted by Mike or by me. We even have a teen show coming up featuring Molly and her friends. Just visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe or renew today. Keep it lit.